Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and I haven't got the same amount of time today as I often do because the Hood household has mostly spent this weekend celebrating our wedding anniversary. Yes, 18 years, thanks for asking. But I do have time to introduce you to a very curious set. Wow. Yes, well, I've owned this set for a very long time, actually, and it's never made an appearance on the channel before. It was kind of always waiting in the wings, working out how on earth I could use it in a productive way. It was used in my very, very first city, which wasn't on YouTube, way back when, and basically it was just one of a couple of makeshift bridges that spanned the opening of Brick Bay. Yes, Brick Bay idea is older than the channel. But this set is basically 4852, the final showdown, which was a Spider-Man set. And you can probably tell it's kind of based on that Brooklyn Bridge scene where everything's going awry. And this is supposed to be the road bridge that's very narrow. And there's the cable car going by on a sort of parallel rail. With Roosevelt Island stickers on the side, which I absolutely love. So I thought this was a pretty cool set and one that I wanted to incorporate in that original city before I did the channel. And I got it, extended it, because it was quite narrow before, so it's got an extra one of these sort of track pieces in from the track system, as they call it, from the old racers sets. And well, it's a bit kind of basic, but I kind of liked it because it just had another mode of transport, being this cable car that you can kind of pull from side to side with a turny handle on an elastic band, basically, which is a bit interesting, supported by some single rail pieces and dangling there over the water. And then this bridge, of course, with some really nice sort of brick stickers on and stuff like that, before they had profile bricks. And I kind of use it as a walk bridge, like a pedestrian bridge, where you just go across from one side to the other, because otherwise it's quite a long walk if you haven't got wheels, because even a tiny vehicle like this completely fills it from side to side, and it would have to be one way, and well, yeah, I don't think that works that well. So it kind of has to be a pedestrian bridge, but the reason why I've never used it in any of my YouTube cities is because, well, I already had two for the two rail lines, which were much more important. And having three and a cable car just seems completely over the top and blocks all of those lovely views. So I don't think I'm going to be using it in this city either, unless you think it's absolutely amazing or you can think of somewhere else to use the bridge element. So why on earth am I showing you it? Well, it's because I want to use the cable car. I kind of figured a similar system, probably without the elastic band, and definitely not motorized, because I'm not going to spend months trying to motorize this. It's very hard to do something like that, especially if you want it sort of going to and fro, and even worse if you want it to going sort of round on a complete loop on two different bands. Anyway, I just thought I'd have a static one somewhere in my city, because I just loved the shape of this car, essentially, with those two railway cab engine fronts, one on each side, to make the lovely shape, which I just think is fantastic. And with that sticker on as well, yeah, it's definitely something I wanted to use. So that is what we're going to try and do today. Now, you may remember last time when we completed our outer train loops that I ended up putting an irregular piece from Trix Bricks into the loop on this side of the wall to make it fill the entire length of wall, but it turned out that using 17 studs on this side wasn't replicated on the other side. There was only room for 16. So it seems that my room isn't a regular rectangle. So essentially I've taken out that additional piece, so it's just 16 on both sides, and we've got that kind of symmetry, which means instead we've got one stud all along this wall instead, which doesn't really matter because essentially, well, A, it's not for the full length of the wall, and B, I can just use 2 by anything sort of green plates, of which I clearly don't have anywhere near enough to take up that little bit of slack. And I think from a distance, and when we've got everything else built up, it means you won't see it. But what it does mean now is I'm finally happy with the geometry of my room, where these base plates are sort of going to go, and well, they aren't moving from here essentially. So I can start to play around with things that are very space sensitive, and this is one of them, the lovely cable car with these gondolas, as I mentioned, I think absolutely beautiful. So the first thing was, I thought, well, I can't just have one gondola going around on its own, because yeah, it kind of looks a bit weird. We need at least one more. So way back in the halls of probably double figures or something like that, but a long time ago, I got 2 more of the red engine cab fronts, and yeah, that makes the second one. I think 2 is probably enough. Now, the only other thing I needed was the stickers, and I managed, after a lot of searching, to find this partially used sticker sheet, which does have the 2 Roosevelt Island stickers on there on the top, so I can have that one decorated in the same way. And then it dawned on me, if I was going to have this probably against the wall, I could have just taken off the one from the back side and put it on the front of that and had them sort of kind of decorated on one side only. But hey-ho, I've got both sides now, so it doesn't have to go against the wall. But that is where I'm thinking of putting it. Kind of like a facade, really, just suggesting that something's going off into the distance that's really interesting. Because another thing I don't want to have about a sort of a motorised or working version of this is I'd need the 2 sort of houses that they go into. And if you did do a big mechanism where they were turning around, it would have to be huge. And I just don't want to spend that amount of space on something as simple as this when all of the fun is just in the gondolas. So I figured I'd just have a bit of rail track in midair with these on, looking absolutely lovely. But if I use 2 straight pieces, kind of, well, just going from A to B, it'd kind of be like that original set. Well, what's happening at this end and what's happening at that end? It doesn't make any sense. So I thought, much like the corner of this table, if I used the corner of the room to kind of cut off with that guillotine the tracks like that and the tracks like that, all it would mean is that we're just seeing a tiny diagonal section of track, and, well, where it goes and where it comes from isn't really our problem, but we do get to see one of the gondolas going in each direction. So that was my cunning plan. And my original plan was to use the corner over there, which I saw as kind of a bit boring. Before, it just had a tiny little terminal station sort of thing. And, well, now I'm using it for the great big space tower, which is going to be even bigger, sort of built into some sort of rocks and stuff. And it's got the Alien Conquest scene in the air above it. So, yeah, that's not going to look good with a double cable car going straight past its front door, especially if we want to have drop pods and battle scenes and stuff like that going on there. And then if you think about it, the only other sort of corners we've got are kind of over here behind a loop coaster, sort of underneath all of that. Ooh, I don't think that looks that good. So, yeah, it's just this corner, really. Now, that's fine, but I was planning to use this as sort of semi-countryside, kind of like with Far Corner Farm in it again, and having wheat fields and all sorts of stuff like that. Does it matter? I don't think so in a way. It's Lego, isn't it? So maybe we should just use this corner and see how it looks. My only other thought was we're going to have Major Oak Hill here, a sort of similar sized hill to the castle, up to about there. And it could technically go up to it, but then we've still got the problem of, well, we need a kind of station on either end. So, yeah, I'm not too keen on that idea. So, yeah, what we're going to try and do today is get those stickers on the second gondola and get a pair of tracks kind of suspended very high up so it's nice and visible from a distance, because that's the other thing I really want to do. I want it to be kind of above this old alarm terminal. That's for my burglar alarm. It's kind of not in a very useful place now, but it was when we had garage doors on this wall. Anyway, sort of above that, so it can be seen from a long way away. And then if we do have the farm, it really won't interfere with that, apart from probably having some huge stanchions to hold it all up, of course. So, yeah, maybe we should start with those stanchions. All right, we've got those lovely stickers on. That looks fantastic. Very neat indeed. And I've even put some people on it as well, just so when we finally hang them, they'll look like they're occupied. Very nice. Good, good. So, as for a tower, is that tall enough? It's an absolute load of half-cylinder pieces stacked on top of one another. And they always seem to have loads of sort of servicing platforms, or maybe they're just platforms for when you need to get off when it all goes completely wrong. Terrifying, if you ask me. Anyway, kind of thick up to here, coming in. Or one of those kind of rocket booster pieces to go to 2x2s with strength added to the inside with loads of Technic pieces as well. And the trick really is that I want it to have a base that attaches firmly to the base plates, but then it's all on a sort of left-right angle, like everything else, really, kind of like Lego tends to be. And this one, I want to have on a complete angle, as we said, 45 degrees. So I'm going to have to put some turntable pieces in here so I can achieve any angle I want. And it might be, just because of the distances, I haven't worked them out, that it's not exactly 45 degrees. So there might be some long distance, hard to reach fettling to be done later. So what I've got, first of all, is one of these 2x2 turntable pieces, which pretty hard to use, really, but yeah, here it's fantastic. Then for the top platform that's going to hold all of the sort of winding gear, I've got one of these octagonal pieces in dark tan, just for a bit of colour contrast, and that sort of snaps onto that. And then just to reinforce it even more, I'm going to add one of these 4x4 equivalents on the top side as well. And then I can add in some more dark tan on the round thing here, which will clip onto that. Or if I can push it down without snapping anything, golly, that's really hard with your left hand. And then essentially everything is completely pivotable. So that is good. And then just to hold it all in place, I'll put the very top of there with a nice warning light on the top onto there. And that will mean that when it's kind of stuck left-right for the base plate section on the bottom, we'll also have this completely turnable section in the middle to get to any odd angle we want. Well, you get the idea. Cool, so there is a tower. We need a second one now, and then we also need to work out the kind of winding gear mechanism that, again, doesn't have to work because we're not having this sort of motorized or anything, but has to look like it could. So, yeah, it just needs loads and loads of wheels on it, essentially, on a Technic brick. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, well, this one's now attached to a base plate, and you can see that it turns pretty freely. So that's good for getting any angle covered for our rails. It is going to be a bit wobbly, so we don't want it in a high traffic area, that's for sure. So here's the second one with the next stage on it as well, being those Technic bricks with loads of pins in for loads of wheels without the tyres. I think that looks suitably rollery and sufficient. Then we've got a bird's nest on there just for a bit of detail, kind of an Easter egg, even though it's not Easter. And it's quite a big egg, isn't it? So what sort of bird would nest that high up with a huge egg? Well, I figured it'd be either the bald eagle or this condor type thing, or is it a vulture? I don't really know. But anyway, I've just put him on a bit of fishing line and temporarily hung him from the alarm box up there, essentially losing the focus on the walls. And the way I've attached it on here is a bit cheaty, not using Lego. Could have used a stud, I suppose, on his back, but basically I just used a tiny bit of hot glue, just a tiny little dab, and that won't damage the piece. It just pops straight off if you want it to. So yeah, I'll get the winding gear on the second one of those, and then we'll have to start working out the geometry of the rails to get it sort of, well, fitting, touching all walls at all points, and, well, out of the way of everything else. Other things I was doing earlier in the week were suggestions for our lovely loop coaster. Wow, check that out. And the main popular one was adding a the or a la or a da in between the loop loop sign. So it was loop de loop, which I quite like, and I did have enough pieces for. So yeah, that's just attached onto another bracket piece on the bit that holds all of that together. So yeah, very little change there, but looks good fun. Loop de loop. Yeah, I like that. And a lot of people pointed out as well that this thing doesn't have an exit. And do you know what? I'd never thought of that before. You know, you kind of come in on this path on the bottom, queue up and get in on the sort of electrified doors that let you into your car. And then when you get out, usually you get out the other side, don't you? And then find your own way out. But there was nothing there. I just never noticed it. Anyway, since you said it, that sort of annoyed me. So I've started doing a stanchion over here with the same sort of red fencing around it, and I haven't got quite enough pieces in the right colour to do all of the banisters for the rail, but you get the idea. And yeah, none of this spoils the motion of the coaster, so they're both great suggestions. Oh, great fun, great fun. Here we go. Loop da loop. There we go, fantastic, and straight past the exit. Cool, right, so that earned those people a shiny bedoing. Well done. And back to our build of the day. Essentially, I've been playing with these rails and different lengths of them supported by plates underneath to basically do a 45-degree angle, because I figure that's going to be easiest. And essentially, it's a bit hard because rails only come in 16 lengths. So what I've had to do on the end is sort of make some fake rail, and I could have used a tile, but I figured these 1x1 sort of triangular pieces almost looked the right profile, especially from a distance. And if they were at the bit where it was joining the wall, would we know? Yeah, I've got 3 on each end because I needed 6 more worth of plates. So now I've just got to find the right stud to attach these to in the corner and do that twice. And then hopefully when I join it all together, it'll still look good and be strong enough and not clashing with the bird, who looks a bit low now. And then we can put these red things on. And yeah, I'm hoping just from a distance it looks really cool. Yeah, cool. Right, so yeah, the final piece together, and it's going to be a bit of a stretch. Well, it may not be greatly appropriate for above a farm, and the shadows sure do look interesting on the blue wall. But apart from that, I think it looks really good, actually. I quite like it. You'll have to tell me what you think. I did just do a train kind of nose check, and I've put the passenger train on the outside line just to see, not that it'll ever be there, and it's absolutely fine clearance actually. So there's that one, and then we can get the cargo one going as well, and yeah, it's absolutely fine going past all of this, no problem whatsoever. So yeah, it's past that check. Stop. Bit of a collision. Yeah, that shadow, it's kind of like the Alien Conquest sort of scene. The shadows are quite pronounced, aren't they? When I get the kind of bigger floodlights in here, that might blast that away. But yeah, who knows? It kind of looks like it points towards that corner. Oh, but then again, maybe we'll have some sort of farm facade in there or something like that that will mask that. One thing that's really quite good is the bird is in exactly the right place, kind of coming into land for its nest. That wasn't planned at all. So yeah, I've done rather well there. But yeah, the real proof will be putting the gondolas on. Let's do that. Oh, that looks epic. I love that. Wow, they really stand out in red, don't they? Looks absolutely great. I thought it might look a bit simple with it being rails and with it being just tall real cylinder poles and stuff and a few wheels, but yeah, I love it. I've deliberately placed them, well, A, apart, but B, kind of near the support so that it's not bowing too much in the middle because it's not particularly strong. Also, in reality, they can't even get past these wheels because they stick out, so the actual bar that holds it onto the wheels on the top get in the way. But you know, again, it's not working, so it doesn't really matter, does it? And you can just about see the people on the inside through that darkened glass. But yeah, I like it. And the bird now drawing you right to that nest is also better than I thought it would be as well. So maybe I just had little faith in this project. You'll have to tell me what you think. Would this be above a big cornfield? I mean, it might look absolutely beautiful. But I don't know, I just can't get over the fact that would you see one of these in the countryside. So hopefully in the comment section you'll be giving me loads of real life examples of where there are cable cars over the countryside. And I suppose anything going up to a ski resort or something like that is over fields and so on before it gets to the mountainy bit. So yeah, maybe I'm overthinking it. But yeah, let me know what you think. I mean, arguably I could go even higher, couldn't I, and try and blot out that alarm box on the wall with one of these. Yeah, it looks better from that angle. And yeah, maybe I can try and get a bit more light in that corner to get rid of that shadow. Or maybe that's part of the joy of it. I don't know. I haven't worked out. But yeah, I was thinking this might be a bit rubbish, and I thought I'd be showing you it to almost prove to myself that it was no good and that I had to think again, and maybe it would go up to Castle Rock or something like that. But now I see it here, I really quite like it actually. It's something that I really wanted to do in my previous city, but never really had the chance to, with everything being so densely packed already. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. Do tell me what you think. Tell me if there's ways I can improve it and try and earn yourself a shiny bedoing, or tell me if I should do it higher, or if you really think it'd be better going up to Major Oak Hill for the sort of visitors centre to the castle. I don't know. I mean, there will be a big walkway ramp up to the castle there, and I don't know if Heritage England would want a cable car being built into such a historic structure. Anyway, yeah, I kind of like that, and let's look at it from a bit more distance back without falling over. Yeah, it stands out. It's kind of a good facade. It could be higher, couldn't it? But not too much. Yeah, it's good fun. Draws the eye. I like it. Cool. Very happy. So as always, thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome LEGO videos. Do also remember that if you value this channel, you can support it by clicking on one of the links in the description below. Do also get in touch if you think you know of a way I can use this walkway bridge somewhere useful in my city. Seems kind of a waste to break it up and never see it again, but yeah, it has already spent several years underneath one of my tables out of use, so I don't really want to have it languishing around like a sort of guilty conscience for another handful of years as well. So anyway, and then next time on Robin Hood Bricks, well, we'll continue with the city work. Hopefully have a bit more time next week, and I still think we are going to be doing a haul this week because yeah, I need the parts. So until all of that, see you! Yeah, I could move them each time so it looks like they're in action.